Okay, so here's how I do law of sines. I'd be like, la, la, la. This guy matches with this guy. Yay. And remember, we always want two partners, right? And then I'd be like, okay, well, now I'm going to go this guy and uh-oh, that's not going to work. I don't have that angle. Okay, no worries. I'll try this guy, and this guy. Uh-oh, no partners. So I can't use law of sines. But did you see how long that took me? Literally 10 seconds. Because I'm now going to show you, if you are out and about and you're hitting on some really pretty girls or some really good looking guys, and they're not really giving you the time of day, maybe you go to the quiet kind of weirdo guy in the corner and he's gonna talk you up. And the good news is, maybe he's not fancy, maybe he's not super hot, but he's loyal and he's never gonna cheat on you. That's the law of cosines. It's not our first choice. We love law of sines. She's easy. But we're gonna sometimes go to the law of cosines. Is she fancy? No, but she never cheats on us. So today, when we get to this point, we can't use SOHCAHTOA, and we can't use law of sines, and we can't. Now we're going to go law of cosines. So I'm going to pass out some notes for you, and I'm going to tell you some good news, bad news why I do that. Okay. For my friends at home, you can just follow along. There you go.
Who's the guy in the corner? You're the guy in the corner, right? Why think I was staring at you, buddy? No, I'm not doing that. No, she's like, I'm the one like she like wants to hear. You're the one who's out. Get out my left corner. It's okay. I'm not judging you. It's okay. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. Okay. Rubber, let me chat. Okay, let me chat. Yeah.
Okay. So I got some good news and some bad news. I'm going to start with the bad news. The bad news is, for a hot minute, what I'm going to show you looks terrifying for about 30 seconds. The good news is, I've been doing this for 35 years, and I have figured out much easier ways to teach this, right? So if you happen to have a geometry teacher who taught you the law of cosines, they gave you these formulas, and you were like, I'll be honest, in the very beginning of my career, this is how I taught it, and my poor students, put your phones away, Chris, thanks. My poor students, I'm like, just memorize it, and it was terrifying. And now, 30-something years later, I have some really good shortcuts, and I had people in both my other classes today were like, hey, that's really pretty easy. So yes, I'm going to trot out this thing that might not look very attractive, but at the end, it's going to grow on you. And you're going to be like, look, you know, you'd make a good boyfriend. So the law of cosines, I'm going to write it. There are 3 versions of the formula. I'm going to write it out. And you're going to think, oh, dear Jesus in heaven, how am I ever going to memorize this? And then I'm going to show you the trick, and you're going to be good to go. So the law of cosine says this. Are you ready? Write this down. We got little a, little b, little c, big A, big B, big C, just like this. Here's what the law of cosine says. It says little a equals, girls, ready? There we go. Little a equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. And right about now, you should be thinking, how am I going to memorize this for Friday? How is that going to happen? And I'm going to show you that it's super, super easy. The key to law of cosines is this. We have only one partnership, not 2. Because, Chris, if we had 2 partnerships, we'd use law of sines. But we only are going to have 1 tonight. We're always going to have 1, but we're only going to have 1. And I want to show you where the partnership is, what I mean by that. Do you see how I have an A here and a little a here. The partnership is your anchor. It will start you and it will finish you. And let me show you what I mean by that. And I mean partnership, they're across from each other. Watch what's happening here. I'm going to have a squared to start off with. I am going to end way over here with cosine A. That's not going to be hard to remember because it's obviously called the law of cosines. And now you're going to have to use these other letters somehow or another. And here's what they do. I'm going to use the b squared like Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to use c squared like the Pythagorean theorem, but it's not. And here's the thing. The key to this thing is that you're going to use this b and c. Ladies, please don't talk over me because I am taping. So you're going to use this b and c 2 times. So we're going to say minus 2 BC. And that's my formula. So watch what happens if I want to start with another pair. So watch what happens. It's kind of cool. I'm going to use this guy and this guy. Are you ready? So the first thing that we're going to do, this is our anchor. We're going to start with b squared. We're going to end with cosine b. Is everybody cool with that? Now I got 2 more letters to use, a and c. So here's what I do. I say a squared and c squared because it's kind of like the Pythagorean theorem. And then I'm going to think, oh, Miss T told me to use those letters 2 times. So minus 2ac cosine b. So can you, with your table mates, try now to do the 3rd version of this formula? And guess what? We're never going to use them after we write them down this one time. Can you try writing down the 3rd version? Here's the hint. We're going to start with c squared. Can you figure out all the rest of the letters that go in this formula? And look, crazy. It took us seconds to memorize this. And we don't, and I'm going to tell you in a minute, we're not even going to use most of this. But a lot of your teachers, if you learn it in Algebra 2 Trig or you learn it in geometry, they're like, here, memorize this. And you're like, please, God, let me kill myself. So hopefully you went c squared, cosine c, and then you thought, wait, I got to use a and b. So a squared and b squared. And then you're going to say minus, I got to use it 2 times, AB. Now watch how easy this is. Are we ready? This first example I'd like you to do on your whiteboards. It's not on your notes because I'd like to walk around and see how you do with it. So here we go. First example. Our first job is this. All of these problems will have a partnership, but only one partnership. Because if there were 2 partnerships, I wouldn't be using law of cosines. I'd be using law of sines because it's so much flipping easier. So our job is to find the partnership. Here's this guy. Here's this guy. Now watch what we're going to do. It's so easy. We start with this guy, x squared equals, we end with cosine 71. Now we're going to use the 23 and the 9. Do I care what their letters are? No, I don't. It's going to be 23 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 23 times 9 times cosine 71. Guess what? Your calculator can do all of that. So please get her out and do the math. 23 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 23 times 9 times cosine 71. Someone stole the calculator. You had enough there for a moment. I
Oh,
think.
no, sorry.
Oh, okay.
22.
Okay. 20. See, he's not fancy. But he's super dependable. You did get 475, and that's a problem because clearly 475 is too big. So hold on to that thought for a minute. Here's what you got. X squared equals 475. But I don't want x squared, do I? I need the square root. And you're going to get clever that you can actually start with the square root symbol and then put all of that goo into the square root symbol if you're good on your calculator, right? Oh, roughly 22. I love that. About 22. Let's try it. Did you do four? So do on your calculator, do square root first. So seconds. So you get to the root. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Second root, and then put in 475.
I tried to do that like the answer.
Oh, I'm going to show you. Oh, yeah. The answer thing works great too, but we could do that. Okay. Did you get 22?
Yeah.
Not bad. Okay, go to your notes. Let's try this one. The key is the setup. And now that you know it's not that hard, it's just finding the beginning and the end, the anchors. Then the rest of it, just go in the middle. Just remember to use it negative. Don't forget that -2. That's the key, right? On a quest, would I advise you to write it out once before you start putting your calculator? Yes. That way, if you push a button in wrong, I can at least give you partial credit. That would be a little slice of awesome. We got this guy, we got this guy. Those are my anchors. So I'm going to say x squared. I'm going to come all the way down over here to cosine 39. And I'm going to say 15 squared plus 17 squared minus 2 times 15 times 17. I am lazy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start by putting in the square root first. So I did second root, and then I'm going to put all of this stuff in. And you know what? Your calculator can totally do all of that. 15 squared plus 17 squared minus 2 times 15 times 17 times cosine 39. I close that parenthesis, and I think I'm done. When you get an answer that you like, can you whisper it to your neighbor? Again, at this point, we're just making sure our calculator skills are okay. Your math skills are fine. Just make sure your calculator skills are okay. 11? 11? Yep. 11-ish, yeah. Not quite 11? Yeah. Okay, you see that? Not quite 11? Chris, not quite 11? That works for me. Works for me. Try one more on your own. You don't even need me. I do a quick sketch of this one just so I know where the partners lie. Yeah, I do a quick sketch. It's not hard. Yeah, I do. I draw it out. I'm not going to lie. I don't always know what's across from what if I don't. A, B, C. You got 106 here. A to B is 10. B to C is 7. And I'm looking for this guy. There I go. Okay. Let's see if I can do it without even doing any work. I am that lazy. 10 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 10 times 7 times cosine 106. Close that parenthesis. Yep. Ooh, I got an answer I like. Like I said, a lot of people in the other classes are like, it's all on your calculator. Like, once you get good at your calculator. But you got to be careful because it can lie to you. That's why you want to show me at least the work. Written out once, because man, you slip. And you're kind of baked. How's that look? That seem about right? Yeah? You feeling it? I rounded correctly. You're gonna round. Hey, I'm cool with the whole number of Colton. Just round correctly, right? If it's 13.7, don't make it 13, make it 14, right? If you're gonna round to the nearest whole number, round correctly. You know how to round. Okay, now we're gonna do the same exact thing, but finding the angle is a little bit trickier on our calculator. So before we do this problem right here, can I have everyone, watch where you're at, I want you to do this math problem on your desk. 20 equals 10 plus 4 minus 2x. Can everyone do that? Maybe even on your calculator. Can you try to do that on your, like, move things around on your calculator? How might you do it if you're doing it on your calculator? Think about it. Can you do it without doing any math on the whiteboard? Could you do this on your calculator? Could you take the 20, subtract something, divide by something? Like, could you do this on your calculator? I'd love it if you could get your answer and then try to do it on your calculator. If you can't do it on your calculator, without writing it out, can you do that one on your calculator? Can you move stuff around? 20 minus 10 minus 4 divide by 2, yeah? So we're going to do problems that are just like this. We're going to be looking for the angle that's going to be right here. You might be really clever at using your calculator. Some of you are going to feel more comfortable writing stuff down. It's going to be up to you. If you felt more comfortable doing this problem by writing it out, you might feel comfortable doing this problem with a little more writing. If you're like me, I would have gone 20, take away 10, take away 4 divided by 2. I would have done it all on my calculator because I'm a nerd like that, right? So let's see how we're going to do this problem. Are you ready? So we're ready to start. Set this up, please. Set this up, please. Start with your anchor pair. This guy and this guy. But this time, and you know what? I'm going to make this a theta. That might make you happier because we've been using theta. Did I use theta, Norma? Not using it right now. Okay, set it up, and then let's stop and let's talk about it. Just go ahead and set it up and let's talk. Now I'm going to tell you, I am been doing math professionally for 37 years, so I'm a pro on my calculator. I'm really fast. Some of you are going to get really fast, and some of you are going to feel a little more confident, comfortable taking it in a few more steps. That's up to you, right? That's totally up to you. If you want me to give you some tricks and come around tomorrow, I can. I don't teach anything new. So here we go. We're going to say 10 squared equals, and let's go all the way to cosine theta, right? That's what we're going to be looking for. We're going to have to unwrap this problem, and we're going to say 11 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 11 times 13 times cosine theta. Are you guys cool with that? So here's what I would ask you to do. I'd like you to start off by let's moving this guy over on our calculator and this guy over on our calculator. So start by doing this. 10 squared minus 11 squared minus 13 squared, and then tell me, like, whisper to your neighbor, show them what you get, and then tell me what you get.
Wait, where do you get the 2?
The 2. Oh, that's part of the formula. You have to remember I said you use the goo twice.
Oh, yeah.
You get negative 190? Yeah, okay. So here's what I got. Negative 190 equals negative 2 times 11 times 13. Why does that happen? Times, still not times, times cosine theta. Okay. Now, let's take this. Some of you would be able to move that in one step, but some of you are going to be more comfortable taking -2 times 11 times 13. Put that as a number. Do it on your calculator. 2 times 11 times 13. Don't even worry about the negative because you know it's going to be negative. And I think you should get something like 289, 286. Okay. We want cosine theta alone. So what do I need to do? Oh, careful. They're being times right here. Do you see what I'm saying? So what's the opposite of times by this guy? Divide. So take this guy and divide it by -286. Again, some of you are going to realize you could have just divided by -2, -11, -13 in one step, but I'm funny like this. Some of you are going to realize, hey, Miss T, can I leave off the negatives and just go like this? 190 divided by 286. You totally can. And you're going to get 190 divided by 286. You should get something like this, 0.6643. And you're like, Miss T, that doesn't make any sense for my angle to be 0.6643. What do I have to remember to ask it to do?
Square.
Careful. Go backwards, right? I got to get the cosine. Remember, I say, hey, if cosine theta is this crazy decimal, I got to ask my calculator now to go backwards. So I got to be like, oh, wait, I got to move him over like that, right? Is it all on my calculator? It is. Yes. I did not 190 divided by 286. You see where I got that from? I got the 190 and then I put that together. I got 286. You with me? Okay. Now, hopefully you got 48 degrees. Is that right? Yeah. I'm going to show some of you a cool way to do this on your calculator. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Okay, so here we go. So I want you to follow my steps if you can and see if it works for you. You're going to be very careful. I'm going to do it all on the calculator. Do you have to do this method? No. If you like what we just did, you are totally good. So here we go. Get your calculator out, get your fingers out. If you got a nice calculator, watch for some parentheses. Here we go. 10 squared. Put it in. Minus 11 squared. Minus 13 squared. Enter. Good? Now, go divide. Parentheses. We're now putting this as my divide, this goo right here. So I'm going to go -2, not -2. Watch for your negative sign. Times 11 times 13. Close the parentheses. Hit enter. You should have gotten 0.6643. Now here's what's cool. You can now either write that little decimal down, 0.6643, and then do the backwards cosine. But if you're clever, your calculator has a little thing. Mine has a little blue ANS at the bottom. Do you see it? So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit second cosine, second ANS. It's going to pick up that 0.6643 and then hit enter, and it should get you right to 48 degrees. Did it work?
Yeah.
Do you have to do it all in one calculation? No, you can split it up if that's more comfortable for you. But if you're good at your calculator, you can do it in one jump. Does that make sense? Yes. I'm going to come show you. Okay, try this one however you want. I'm going to come around and help you with your calculation. Set it up start moving stuff around. Let's do it. So we're gonna say 10 squared.
Why did you no.
Does it matter what it's called next?
We're just, minus. Minus. No, because we're moving it over. We're unwrapping. Go ahead and hit enter. Good. Now we're going to divide. Watch what we're going to do. We're going to divide by all of this group, right? So what? Okay, so hit divide. Now put a parenthesis because we want all this stuff together. So -2 times 11 times 13. Enter. Good. Now we're going to ask it to go backwards. So second cosine, second, and see that? So hit second. Yes. Now the parentheses because we're not. Hit enter. I know.
That's great.
Yeah. Did you see that? Are you cool with that? You got it? How did you do on this one? Yeah. Oh, you're talking. Great. Can we do the new? So I'm going to come and do it with you. Did someone do? Let me do this real quick. Let's see if I can do it in my. This week I set a calculator again. Do I set it with you?
Oh yeah.
So here I go. I'm going to try to do it like in one step. Ooh, scary for me. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so I'm going to say 17 squared minus 30 squared. If I can do this, I'm a pro. Minus 18 squared. Enter. Divided by negative, I'm going to use a parenthesis. That parenthesis is important. Divided by -2 times 30 times 18 parentheses and then second backwards. Oh my God. Second cosine, second answer. 30 degrees? Fire. Fire. I didn't write a thing down. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. I do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Huh? Say what? It depends. I mean, sometimes you're really tired. I mean, I tape everything, so if you miss it. Oh, I'm going to stop. Okay, bye.